Story is so powerful, it can get people to sell themselves. And in this podcast today, I'm sharing a story on how I got sold on a product. My name is Cornell Ladigan, co-founder of BizVideo. The purpose of this podcast is to take you on a journey of how we use story to grow our business. Thank you for joining me today. So without being salesy, you can literally change the way people think by using story. And I guess, why would you want to do this? If you're in business, this will make sense to you. You obviously want to grow, or you want to scale your business, or you want to get more clients in, okay? And here's the big secret for today. Story amplifies value. So, and I guess the best way for me to, talk about this is to actually tell a little bit of a story myself. Lately, I've been thinking of getting an iPad again. I used to have an iPad, a few years ago. I had the mini, and then I had the big one. And then I kind of just let go of it because, I'm like, man, I'm not even using it too much. And I'm thinking to myself, if I get an iPad just to get it for the sake of getting it, I'll be spending about, $500 or $1,200. Or I think they even go more these days. And I'm just thinking, I'm trying to justify it. I'm like, no, there's no way I'm going to spend $1,200 for something I'll probably not use again. And, the story that I want to tell you now is how I've justified in my head through the story I'm going to tell you, where the value of getting the iPad far outweighs the $500 or $1,200 or whatever you'll spend on it. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because you've got to think about it like this. You've got to think this is how your customers think as well when they look at the service or the product that you actually provide. They're always going like, oh, how do I justify this? Is it worth it? And so on. So a little story. So 2 years ago, I actually started journaling, right? So I'd get a journal like this and literally start writing down my goals and so on. It started off like that. And then, 2 to 3 months later, as I was journaling more and more, and I found some good success in it, I was really, changing the way I journal. So the best way of me explaining this is, in the beginning, I actually just wrote down my goals. And then 3 months later, I started writing down my gratitude. And then it just kept evolving. And then now 2 years later, it's amazing. So what I do now every single morning is I get up, I write down, all my gratitude for today, my goals, my targets that I want to hit today. And that's outcome-based targets, so results-based targets. And then I go back into what were the wins for today, and what were the lessons learned, and how. And then the next thing is also again my goals again, and then gratitude again. So I would do this every single morning before I get into work, and it's been working really well. I found that the mornings that I don't get into it, the whole day it doesn't seem as strong. And I'm just a little bit scattered everywhere. And so every night as well, I'll go to bed and actually journal. So, I'd normally jump in the shower first, get ready for bed, jump in bed. And then while my wife's, getting ready for bed as well, I call over my little doggy and start cuddling her and just writing down what were some of the lessons learned today and what were some of the wins. Then going back into the goals again, because I want to give my goals twice a day and my gratitude. So I would do this, right, for every day. I would do this. I would do a weekly plan. I would do a quarterly plan. I would do a monthly plan and a yearly plan and even a 5-year plan. So, and I guess the reason why I want to do this is I want to stay positive, right? There's so much negativity going on in this world, and I'm like, man, if I can just stay in control of this one thing, then maybe I'll be a little bit more positive. And but the thing is, it's super hard staying positive all the time and grateful all the time. And if if you're in business yourself, you probably find that yourself. You're so busy and there's a billion things running around in your mind every single day. So some of the biggest challenges for me, right, in journaling every single day is I've got to write all this stuff down. I've got to write down gratitude, so the actual headings every single day. And that takes like 3 to 5 minutes every single day, just writing the headings down. And then I've got to get into the actual content that I want to put in there. So I want to go in gratitude and so on. And for me, I'm trying to be productive as possible, and it feels like I'm wasting my time a little bit there. And now we're talking about how do we do this on like every week. We've got to create a plan, and every month and every quarter. So you just waste so much time. And then sometimes I'll actually leave this at the office, you know. And the other thing is, like, I'll probably have about 6 or 7 of these now, like stacked away at home. And if I had a meeting, let's say a month or 2 ago, how do I go look back at the meetings? So that's the other thing I should have mentioned. That I actually write down all my meetings in the book as well. So it's a bit of a thing. But to cut a long story short, right? My team and I went to Sydney last week. Tim and I, so Tim is in my team. We went to this workshop, and it was around, they were teaching marketing agencies and so on how to become better in business. So it was pretty cool. And there I was writing in my journal and also writing on the slide notes and so on. And there was this guy sitting there. His name's Kristen, anyway. And he was sitting there. He was writing on his iPad with an iPad, like with a pencil. And I'm like, man, this looks interesting. And I'm a techie kind of person, but when I saw this, I'm like, mate, that is just amazing. I love writing, right? So typing for me, and typing my goals and gratitude and everything else, I've never even considered it, because I'm like, I've got to disconnect somehow. But now, when I saw Kristen, you know, he had the PDF up on his iPad and he was actually writing, and he gave me a go, and I was like, boom, I just had this epiphany. I'm like, what if I could have my daily goal setting, gratitude, and journaling, right, as a template every single day with the headings, everything done, and I can just come in and write. And so now I'm starting to justify it in my own head, right? Apple didn't even have to sell me on this product. I'm starting to justify this, and I'm like, oh, I can do this in meetings as well. I can actually bring up whether it's like a blank page and start writing with the iPad, then everything's there. It's all syncing up to the cloud, and you know, I'm really trying to justify this. You know, some of the conflicts that come up was like, well, there's nothing better than pen and paper. So that's always a concern. So I went and tried it. Like I said, I tried it with this guy. I went back into JB Hi-Fi here on the coast, because they have both iPads and Samsung. So I was trying to figure out, like, which one should I actually get, you know? So I've got this conflict in my head, like, should I get a Samsung because I've got an Android phone, but then I've got a MacBook Pro. So I'm like, man, I'm torn here. Or should I just get the iPad, and then it's not going to sync up with my phone, and I want to be able to have all the notes on my phone. So all these things running through my head, and there's a purpose why I'm telling you guys this. This is how your customers actually think every single day. They go, oh, which way? And I'm a pretty decisive person. Like, you know, if I go A, then I go A. So I'm pretty good at that. Now imagine people that, you know, struggle a little bit more with making decisions. So anyway, I'm at JB Hi-Fi, test the Samsung, wasn't as reactive. It wasn't like pen and paper. It was, you know, it was just like, it was lagging, you know, it felt really digital. And then I went over to the iPad. I'm like, mate, this really feels like I am writing on a piece of paper. So, but then now I've got another conflict come up. I'm like, okay, well, what iPad do I get? Do I get the normal iPad, or do I get the iPad Pro? The one is, I think, under $500, and the iPad Pro around $1,000. I'm not sure exactly the price. But now there's another conflict, right? So this is crazy. The new iPad's getting announced in 10 days, and the new Apple Pencil. So anyway, the result, you know, basically that I've come to, I've come to the conclusion, I'm definitely going to buy the iPad. I'm going to get a pencil, but I'm going to wait for the Apple event to actually announce this. So again, like, for me, the biggest transformation is I'll be able to do all those templates. I'll be able to write all of them there. So now I'm all of a sudden sold. I can write down all my meetings every single day. I can literally highlight books, because I read a lot as well. I can highlight all the books and take notes and everything. So I've justified this, and I've sold myself on it based on a story. And it was the story that I was part of. And it was that particular guy in Sydney that showed me what he was doing and how he used to use paper, but now he uses the iPad. So it just, I had this epiphany. And you've got to think about it like this. If you're in business, how do I tell stories, right? So that my potential customers, my customers actually get that same epiphany, right? Because a lot of times you can't be in person with your potential clients. They're doing research and so on. They might be jumping on your website, your Facebooks and everything else like that. What stories are you putting on there? And I mean, just for us, a few things that we're personally doing for our own business, right? I mean, you guys all know we do business videos to help businesses grow with videos. One thing we do is case study stories, right? Because it gives future potential customers that exact journey that they've got to go on. And the way we structure those case studies is we go, what's the character, right? The character is the client that you've helped successfully, right? Now, what is their desire? Now, I told you the story about the iPad. You know, my desire was, you know, I want to be able to write down all my goals and everything on a daily basis, so that I can stay positive. But my conflict, and that's the next thing. So we show their desire and then we show their conflict. But the conflict is, I've got to write in this little booklet every single day. I've got to keep it with me. I've got to write out all the headlines every single day. It's a bit of a mess. So one you know, piece of let's say one spread will be my goals, and then the next one will be a meeting, and the next one's like some other ideas that I write down. And then I'm like, oh, where do I find it? It's ridiculous. Like where's that meeting? And then I go back and I go check my calendar, see when I had the actual meeting, and then I go on my gratitude, see, so 6th of August, okay, cool. So then I go try and match up, oh, there's the meeting. So it's like literally it's like crazy. Whereas in with this, then I had to go on this journey. So that's the next thing. So desire, conflict, journey. So I had to go on this journey to find out the solution, which is the next thing. And the solution in this case is the iPad with the pencil, so that I can have results. And my results tie back into the desire. So again, my desire is to be able to write down my goals, gratitude, have all my meetings, everything with me, and have something that actually works, so that I become more positive and I become more successful. So how can you actually measure the value in that? Now $500 or $1,000 iPad, I could not care less. That $1,000 is nothing for me, because I know if I do my goals every single day, if my gratitude, what I'm grateful for, I put down all my targets and actions that I've got to complete today, I'm going to be more successful, because I know if I do this every single day, I'm going to be more successful. So you can't put a price on that. So think about in your own business, what kind of stories do you tell so that people, because like I said before, story is so powerful, it can literally get people to sell themselves, because story amplifies value. So how are you doing that? What stories are you using to amplify the value of your product or service? So I hope that have helped you guys, and I'll be back for more, and to you know, get some of these things off my mind, and you know, teach you guys along the way what I'm going through. I'm going through the story myself, which is my life and in business, and would love for you guys to go on this journey. So have a fantastic day.